Today I'm talking about Maria Fitzherbert. This is the St John the Baptist Church in Kemp Town in Brighton. The building was funded by Maria Fitzherbert and was completed in 1835. George, Prince of Wales, who would later become King George IV, had lots of admiring females. He met Maria Fitzherbert when he was very young, when he was the Prince of Wales. He fell madly in love with her, but he couldn't marry her because she was Catholic, as it was against the Royal Marriages Act. George would not have been able to become king if he married her. Maria was also twice widowed. She was a devout Roman Catholic and refused to be George's mistress, so they secretly got married on the 15th of December 1785. It is classed as an illegal marriage because George III didn't give his permission, but in the eyes of her church, the Roman Catholic Church, they considered it to be legal. George and Maria's relationship didn't last, but when George was dying in 1830, he had Maria's miniature portrait put around his neck and he was buried with it. According to his will of 1796, it stated, "The picture of my beloved wife, Maria Fitzherbert, may be interred with me, suspended round my neck with a ribbon, as I used to wear it when I lived, and placed right upon my heart." Maria died just under 7 years later, in 1837. I'm at St John the Baptist Church in Kemp Town with Adrian Richards, who has been a parishioner here at the church for 45 years, and he has a very interesting story regarding Maria Fitzherbert.
Well, Kelly, next door to the church here, there used to be a convent. It's owned by Brighton College now, but I remember the nuns who lived there and got on with them very well. And there was one very elderly nun who told me this really interesting story once. She told me that between the wars, the Home Office and some officials came down, and the church was closed for about a fortnight. And we know that the baptismal records from the 19th century, so the 1800s, have been tampered with, and some of the pages have been removed. And this has always been a bit of a curious thing. You can find the records in the keep now. But the story goes like this. We think, and nobody is sure of this, but the nun was quite sure about this, and I've no reason to doubt her, that Maria's remains, who are just behind me here in the floor, that's right, that these were exhumed, and her remains were taken to be with George, the Prince Regent, to rest with him, because as far as the Catholic Church is concerned, they were legally married, and as far as we know, we did have children, and we think that's why the baptismal records were tampered with. That's right, yeah. Her family, as far as I know, live in the States, and I remember a priest here, Canon Dennis Barry, remembers the family coming every year to visit the parish in Brighton and to maintain their contact with Maria and her family. And we think it's that family that put up this memorial to Maria here. The family no longer come and visit the parish, unfortunately, so I never met them, and as far as I know, I don't know anybody else who's met them, apart from Canon Dennis Barry, who's dead now.
And this is the family that were from Maria and George, so they were
their
children.
So we believe, yes, that's right. And of course the really controversial thing, I mean, this is all oral history, yes. You won't find this written down, is I suppose they could have a claim to the throne.
That's so interesting.
Yes, but Canon Barry told me that he knows that the family have renounced any claim to the throne. You know, this was years ago.
Thank you very much for telling that amazing story.
Pleasure. Happy to share that with you.
I visited the keep in Brighton, and I was able to view St John the Baptist Church's baptismal records digitally. I found the missing pages Adrian was talking about. There is page 12, and then it skips to page 15. The missing page's date is around 1802. George and Maria were together at this time. Maria was in her mid-40s, so it was possible she could have had a child. I wonder what's on pages 13 and 14. I suppose we shall never know.